Dr. Sella here, and I had this long conversation with someone yesterday. There's a lot of stats out there that indicate that if you can just take care of this stat, you'll win the game. We hear about it all the time. Explosiveness, that if you have one more play of 20 plus than your opponent, 20 plus yards than your opponent, you win 86% of the time. And that's a stat that's been verified the last 30 plus years in the sport of football. Massive quantitative studies done on that. If you have one play of 20 plus yards than your opponent, you'll win the game 86% of the time. That was a study done about 9 years ago in college football. But Brian Billick indicated this in the early 90s, that explosive plays, as offenses were starting to get more sophisticated, that stat was starting to increase a little bit from studies that had been done in the past. But right now it's in that mid-80s percentile explosive plays. Number two is turnovers. Obviously, turnovers has been a big deal, but the thing is, because of explosive plays, it mitigates turnovers. Right now, turnovers, if you are +1 in the turnover battle, you win mid-70s. There are certain studies that have had it at 80 to 85%. Certain studies, I've seen it as low as 73%. The point is, obviously, if you're +1 in turnovers, your chances of winning the game are 3 out of 4 or 4 out of 5. So it's pretty good. Explosiveness, though, generally you're looking at, you're going to win, if you're +1 in the turnover battle, you're going to win 4 out of 5, 5 out of 6 games that you play. I heard Greg Schiano speak on this when he was at Rutgers the first time, and he said that if Rutgers was +1 of plays of 25 plus yards, if they had one more play than their opponent of 25 plus yards, they won every single game. So explosives are a big deal. We know that. But the thing is, a lot of you that are listening right now, it's hard for you to get explosives because you don't have good football players. You have underdogs. That's why you're here. Turnovers is something you can more likely control with underdog football players because you're mindful with the ball. You work on ball exchanges. You beat people with execution. You beat people by making sure there's 4 points of pressure on the ball, that you chin the ball in the open field, and you create a culture of mindfulness. It's easier to do that than get explosive plays because explosive plays, often you need players. Now, Air Force is able to create explosive plays because they run the football so well, and then people are running uncontested down the field. That does happen. Now, the stat that, and I have said this in other videos, but I'm going to make a big deal about it here. The most underground stat that's going to help you win. And listen carefully, and I've said this in other videos, so if you're one of these people that watched all 2,500 videos I've made on this YouTube channel over the last 5 years, you've heard it before. But I'm going to say it with some great emphasis here. The stat that really will change your football program is how many yards rushing you get on first down. If you average 4+ yards rushing on first down, it is nearly impossible to lose the football game because of the trickle-down effect that has on the rest of your offense, your defense, and your special teams. Now, this is what you need to know about this. And this is the dirty secret of football because, unfortunately, the media focused on the wrong thing back in the mid-'80s. In 1985, the Chicago Bears had quite possibly the most dominant season in the history of professional football. People can argue the 72 Dolphins, the 78 Steelers. The 85 Bears won every game but one. They averaged 4+ yards rushing on first down. They averaged 4+ yards rushing on first down. What people don't understand is how dominant that made their defense. Because their defense wasn't on the field that long, and it helped their special teams, and it helped their vertical passing game because that's what created situations for Willie Gault to get open. But you're going to hear the media talk about the defense. You're going to talk about the players involved, from Singletary to Richard Dent to Hampton to Mungo, all the way through to the secondary. You're going to hear all about it. You watch videos on YouTube, Rumble, you're going to hear all about the 85 Bears defense. You're not going to hear about the offensive line and how dominant they were run blocking, how dominant the tight ends were in run blocking, how dominant Matt Suhey was as a fullback run blocking. And of course, they had the great Walter Payton. But what people don't understand is that run offense was built to be dominant on first down. If you average 4+ yards rushing on first down, this stat will change your program. Not just that, it'll affect in a positive manner the rest of your offense, it affects your defense, and it affects your special teams. Everything trickles down from that one stat. So if you can just get 4 yards rushing on first down, you're good to go. Now, the average high school football game, you're going to have 22 first down opportunities. Some data I've read, it's around 20, but generally the national average is 22 first downs a game. Now, the question I get is, based on the data, what happens if we throw the ball on first down? The answer to that question is, you better freaking complete it. You better complete it. So if you can run the ball for 4+ on first down, you better run on first down. You better run on first down. If you do throw it, you better complete it. Now, what Bill Walsh did is he knew about this stat because Brian Billick had said this, because Billick coached with him with the 49ers, and Billick had a relationship with the Bengals too when Walsh was there. But Bill Walsh built an offense on, he knew that he had to get 4+ yards on first down throwing the football, and he knew he had to have a nearly flawless completion rate on first down. Because if you get behind on first down, the effect of that is so great. So he built a short passing offense on first down where he knew they could complete it and he knew they could get 4 yards to emulate running the ball. But he knew he had to get completions on first down or they were in trouble. Because if it was 2nd and 10, they were going to have problems. But Brian Billick said this years ago. Doug Peterson said this during the Eagles Super Bowl run. And Lou Holtz has been saying this for decades. If you get rushing yards on first down, you can't lose. I mean, obviously you can lose it, but here's the thing. You got to understand about yards per run on first down. If you're getting 4+ on first down, you are so dominant it trickles down to the rest of your program. Air Force right now has one of the best defensive lines in college football with 0 athletic scholarship players. The scheme they run, obviously they run a scheme for utilizing the quickness of the defensive lineman and the super aggressiveness of the military athlete. But it's a trickle-down effect for what their offense does. Now, I don't have the data of what Air Force does on first down because, honestly, when I focus on Air Force, I'm just looking at what concepts are they running, how much are they running it, and what concept do they follow after they ran a concept. Because for installation purposes, play calling purposes, we've got to go all in on what they do at least 4+ times a game. So that's really my focus as a sport and performance psychologist. But what I'm telling you today is get 4+ yards rushing on first down. If you throw the ball, you better complete it. If you can just focus on that at your practice, it will trickle down to your defense, to your special teams, to everything you do. So just focus on that one thing and watch how your program changes. Coaches, You want to win more games in 2023? Pick up the phone and call me. Talk later.